Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is sorrow. Sorrow. Now, out of everything that God has done, and you imagine after the whole incident with the golden calf, you can imagine that sorrow would be playing a part somewhere, somehow. One, in chapter 32, Exodus 32, you have God that is, he's angry and furious with these people. And if it had it not been for the intercession of Moses, who knows what might have happened. And, well, we know because God said what he was going to do, but he relented because Moses interceded. And then you see this again in chapter 34, and 33 and 34. You'll see the covenant renewed because some things are made right and because of the intercession of Moses. So again, I want you to make sure you're reading the whole chapter so you see the whole context of this. But as you get to this one part, it's something really kind of struck me today, to think about hearing this news from God. Right? Remember all the promises. Remember everything that's been given, everything that Moses has shared, and everything, the promises that they knew, and everything that he has told them was going to happen from God. And now they're getting ready to set off for the land, for the promised land, for the land flowing with milk and honey, right? But notice what he says. Now, you would think that'd be a good time when it's time to leave and go where you wanted to go, but yet is a time of sorrow. Exodus 33 today, verses 1 through 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Depart and go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, to your descendants I will give it. And I will send my angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in your midst, lest I consume you on the way, for you are a stiff-necked people." And when the people heard this bad news, they mourned, and no one put on his ornaments. For the Lord had said to Moses, "Say to the children of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. I could come into your midst in one moment and consume you. Now, therefore, take off your ornaments, that I may know what to do to you." So the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Now, the ornaments there really referring to that jewelry that they had on. Now, I love the tie there that we would miss it, right? You say ornaments. What are we talking about? Christmas ornaments? But they're personal decorations, the personal things they had to adorn themselves, all the jewelry and everything else. Well, why does that play an important part? Well, what had they just done previously? Well, man, they sacrificed some nice gold and nice jewelry before to make a golden calf, to make an idol. But yet God is saying, well, fine, y'all need to strip it all down. You need to get rid of it all. See, I think some of this we have to see is that when we sacrifice to a false god, when we sacrifice to an idol, God's going to demand even more from us. You think about that. Think about how willingly we give to idols, yet how stingy we are when it comes to giving to God. So here God has told him, look, I'm sending you to the place that I've promised, and you're going to go there, but I'm not going with you. And it was directly because of the sin of idolatry, because they had raised up a false god, because they had basically taken the name of the Lord in vain. That's 3 of the 10 right there that they've already messed up. And God says, I could go with you, but if I went with you, among you, I would consume you. But you notice that he did not completely abandon them. He said, I will send my angel, and he's going to go before you. Because why? Because God was still going to fulfill his promises to the Israelites. The thing is that whether or not this generation, this group of Israelites was going to be able to make it there. Because he said, if I go with you, I'm going to wipe you out. So he says, the fierceness of God's anger at that moment, but also his patience and his long suffering is seen as well. Because he could have wiped him off the face of the planet, but he didn't. But he still was faithful to his word. But how much sorrow, and you see, just a side note, you'll see as you go on, man, Moses begins to intercede again, and you see that Moses has and Joshua have a particular special time with God at a tent outside of the camp. But that's towards the end of the chapter. But here's the thing today. How much sorrow must it have been? How much mourning must it have been to hear you're going to where I promised you that you would go, but you're going to go without the presence of God? Think about that. And I often wonder how many times we do the same thing. Because we have served the world, because we have done the things that the world wants us to do, and we have sacrificed to it, and then, man, it's like, well, man, I don't have anything left to give to God. And God says, well, I'm going to still get you to where I promised you. But look at the blessings that you're missing out on. Look at the fellowship. And that's the key. That's what would make you sorrowful. To find out that, look, I'm going to get to go everywhere I want to go, but God's not going to be with me. You think about how, like, maybe you plan a vacation or plan a special trip, and it's just you and your spouse, or you and your children, or you and the whole family, whatever the case may be. But let's just say, man, you had all this planned, and this is what you wanted to do, and then you still get to do it all, but that one person that you wanted to be there, that makes the trip worthwhile, isn't there. Sure, you can still go on the trip. Sure, you can still enjoy a lot of things, but it will not be as special as it would be had they been there. Now, many of us, we know what that is like because of loss and because of death or loss or something else that has messed up the relationship. We all know what that feels like. But yet, do we sorrow when we don't have the presence of God? Are we sorrowful when we get to do what we wanted to do, but God's not in it? God is still a resource. God is still close. He's nearby, but he's not among them. God still talks to Moses and Joshua, but in a tent outside of camp. I wonder today if God was only meeting with us way outside of camp, way outside of our normal lives. Would we even notice that he wasn't dwelling amongst us? Would we even know that the presence wasn't with us? And today, if we realize that maybe the presence of God is not with me like I thought it was before, it's not that they stopped being the children of Israel. And it's not that when we sin, we stop being the children that belong to him because we are saved. We mess up the fellowship. And if we're not upset because we've messed up the fellowship, then we don't understand the relationship at all in the first place. So today, let your sorrow of not having God, not having that fellowship like it ought to be, let that sorrow drive you to sacrifice everything else, all those ornaments, all those special things that you have. Sacrifice, give it to God and say, God, I'm willing to lay it all down to come after you. Let me seek you. Let me seek you first. And then, God, I know you add all these things to me. Let me ask, and it will be given. Let me seek, and I will find. Let me knock, and I know that it will be open. Why? Because, God, I want you to be near. Today, let's not spend time sorrowing. Well, we need to spend time sorrowing. But today, let's spend time seeking the face of God. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.